Don't Listen Alone, Short Horror Stories by Layla Brinley. Episode 12, The Alabama White Thang. It was exactly 2:35 in the morning when I grabbed my flashlight and held it up to my window. I flashed my secret signal to the house directly next to mine. On, off. On, off. My best friend Raina appeared in the window parallel to where I was standing and flashed the same signal back. Our plan was a go. I grabbed my bag of supplies from beside my bedroom door and crept out, carefully avoiding the creaky floorboards of my 100-year-old house with practiced ease. The last thing I wanted to do was wake up my parents. I made it down the stairs and to my front door without any difficulties, but now was the hard part, the squeaky front door. I unzipped my bag and extracted a bottle of door hinge grease I had stolen from my dad's toolbox earlier. As I sprayed it onto the hinges, I felt tense. It seemed excruciatingly loud. Not as loud as creaky door hinges, though, so this noise is a valid sacrifice. I finished spraying the hinges and put the bottle back into my bag. Unlocking the deadbolt and turning the handle, I exited my house with not a single squeak. Raina was waiting outside for me. "What took you so long, Chloe?" she hissed. "Squeaky door hinges," was the only reply I needed. Raina nodded understandingly as she asked, "You got the camera?" Patting my backpack, I nodded. "Awesome. Let's go." With that, we ran into the Jefferson County woods. I pulled the camcorder out of my backpack and clicked it on, pointing it to Raina. "Hello, everyone," she whispered to the camera. "Right now, no one knows who we are, but once you'll see this, we'll be famous. Why is that? Well, tonight, my friend Chloe and I are going to be catching the Alabama White Thang on camera. Let's get going." We crunched through the leaves coating the ground, our flashlights illuminating their bright fall colors. I waved the camera around, trying to film as much of the woods as possible. My filming skills must have been crappy, but I didn't care. No one would once Raina and I were famous. Suddenly, there was a high-pitched scream, one that sounded like a woman in distress. I felt my blood run cold. "What was that?" I asked quietly, frozen in my spot. "Probably just a bobcat or something," Raina replied, but she was also visibly scared. Yeah, you're probably right," I said, and continued stepping forward. Raina followed. "The White Thang doesn't eat people, right?" I questioned. "No, I don't think so," my friend told me. Just as she finished her sentence, the scream sounded again, much closer this time. We froze again, but this time we didn't move, speak, or anything. Stepping into our flashlight beams directly in front of us was the White Thang. It was an 8-foot-tall, white-furred creature with no eyes or ears, simply just a nose and mouth. Frankly, it was terrifying. I heard Raina let out a whimper of fear beside me, and she quickly grabbed my arm, squeezing it hard, our personal signal to leave, or run in this case. We both turned at the same time, sprinting away from the giant white creature. It may not have had eyes or ears, but it must have been able to sense us somehow, because it pursued us at a frightening pace, stomping scarily close behind. Raina and I stumbled out of the forest and split, each of us heading for our own houses. Not even bothering to be quiet, I ran up my front steps and flew through the door, slamming it shut. Somehow the sounds did not awaken my parents, so I crept back up the stairs and crawled into my bed, shaking in fear until I fell asleep. The next morning, there was a knock on my front door. "Chloe, Raina's here," my dad called. "Cool," I replied. "You can send her up here." A moment later, Raina appeared in my doorway. I turned my swivel chair away from my desktop monitor to face her. "Raina, we have a problem," I said. "What is it?" she asked, coming up behind me to look at my screen. "The creature didn't show up on camera," I replied, playing the video for her. It showed Raina doing the introduction and then us traveling through the woods. Then, we stopped for a moment before turning and running away. Right there, the White Thang should have been chasing us, but it hadn't appeared. "Well," Raina said. She looked puzzled. "I suppose some things are better left alone." I nodded. "I guess the Alabama White Thang will be our secret then." "I guess so," Raina replied. Thank you for listening to the Don't Listen Alone, Scary Stories podcast. Please like this episode and follow the channel. Thank you.